Good morning, everybody. Iain from RTO here. Welcome to Tuesday's shows. Welcome to a miserable, dark, dingy Northampton. I had to put the light on. It was a bit dark in here. So today we have another album ranking to do, and today we are looking at Scottish rock band Gun. Formed in the I think around about 87, 88 time. They've had a reasonably good career. Never really hit the big time, but they did have a very, very good following. Fronted by Mark Rankin for the first four albums. They disbanded in '97, then reformed in 2008 with Little Angel singer Tony Jebsen. They recorded a little EP called Pop Killer, and it wasn't very good. Doesn't even get an honourable mention today. And then the bass player took over singing, Dante Gizzi. The band, Giuliano, and with this new lineup they've had a little bit of success. The band does continue to tour today. They're a pretty solid band. So they had 7 albums. They're all good. There's not a bad album at all. I wouldn't say that they made a bad album. Some of the tracks are a little bit, some of them are not as good as others, and that's how I've ranked them. It was a very hard ranking to do, actually, because I do love Gun. I've seen them quite a few times as a supporting band, and they played in Northampton at the legendary Roadmender. They've supported Def Leppard, Rolling Stones, so they've been out on tour with a few people. So let's have a look at their studio albums. Okay, coming in at number 7 is the 6th album, released in 2015, Frantic. The guys on this was Dante Gizzi Dante Gizzi on vocals, Jules Gizzi on guitar, Paul McManus on the drums, Andy Carr on the bass, and Tommy Gentry on guitar. Okay, the first track on the album is a track called Let It Shine. Isn't too bad. It's got a catchy tune, but it is a little bit cheesy in places, but it's got that real upbeat sound that Gun were known for. Very upbeat music. Okay, second track is called Labour of Love. Got some great riffs in this. There's not much information about these albums, so it's just putting together what I know, and some of the album CD covers haven't got the right information on, so this is just a thing. So I don't know who. I think Jules Gizzi does a lot of the riffing, and Tommy Gentry, I think, has done some of the solos. But on Labour of Love, there's some great guitar work on it. It's a damn good track. A Beautiful Smile, again, I love the riffs in this track. And Dante's voice is very good. He's very similar to Mark Rankin, actually. They do sound very, very similar. So that, I think that's why the continuity of this band has kept going. Then we get my favourite track on the album, One Wrong Turn. This is old. This is what I mean by Dante's voice. This is something that could have been done on the first 4 albums, and you wouldn't. There's a few little bits you can tell that it's not Mark Rankin, but it's a proper old-fashioned style gun track, absolutely out the top drawer. Okay, Our Time. It's not one of the best tracks on the album, probably one of the weaker ones, bit of a filler, I'm afraid. Title track Frantic isn't too bad. It's not brilliant and it's not bad, it's just it's one of them in between tracks, still listenable. Hold Your Head Up sounds a bit gospel-y to me, gospel rock song. Again, it's a little bit cheesy, but it's still enjoyable to listen to. Big City, it's okay, not one of the stronger tracks. Sir Parthenia, again, this is a great track, proper gun, driving bass lines, great drumming, great singing, love that track. Never Knew What I Had, this is really good. One thing that Gun were always good at was mixing acoustic guitars with heavy guitar, and this is one of their signature sort of songs from that sort of style. Really solid track. That was the last track on the album. This is a solid tracks on this album. Awesome album. Okay, it's got some of the weaker ones. I don't dislike this album, I do play it. It's got some great riffing and guitar solos from the guys, so I'll give it an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 6, this is the most current album, the 7th, released in 2017, Favourite Pleasures. Again, it's Dante Gizzy, Juliana Jules Gizzy, Paul McManus, Andy Carr and Tommy Dentry. First track on this, She Knows, very good track. Paul McManus' drum on this is absolutely stunning. It's just a great track to start the album. You know, when you always expect a really good track to start the album, and this is no different. This is an absolute belter. Here's Where I Am. Very proper. This is very glam rock, very 70s glam rock. Fantastic track. Favourite Pleasures, again, this is very quirky, funky rock, but really good. Take Me Down, you know this is a gun track from the moment you hear the first chords. It's got that distinctive sound that they managed to make their own, and it's a great track. Silent Lovers, the riff at the start of this is a bit like Clash's London's Calling. It's a little bit of a rip-off, but that's as far as it goes about ripping off that song. It's quite a good track. Silent Lovers, no, we've done that one. Blackheart, it's okay, it's got some nice riffs and drumming in it, but it's not particularly my favourite. Without You in My Life, again, it's just one of them upbeat catchy tunes that gets your feet tapping. Great bass line in this. Doesn't matter who's playing the bass, there's always a nice deep bass line in a gun song. Tragic Heroes sounds a bit like U2, but it's okay. Go to Hell, it's probably the weakest track on here. I don't know what they were trying to prove there. The Boy Who Fooled the World, this is my favourite track on the album. It's in my top 5 gun tracks as well. It's one of their slower tracks. It's got some lovely piano work, the acoustic guitar is good, then you get your main guitar. Very, very enjoyable track. Then we get a cover. One thing about Gun, when they cover a song, they're good. And they have done Beastie Boys, You've Got the Right to Fight to Party. This is far better than the Beastie Boys. It's more heavy, the riffs are better, and the vocal from Dante is incredible. absolutely nails it, and it is the best version of this song I've ever heard. 20 Stories, oh, it's a bit of a filler. It's not the best track. Come Undone, solid track. All I Really Need, it's a bit generic rock song, not particularly great. Then we get another version of the Boy Who Fooled the World. This is with an orchestra, and it sounds just as good. Both tracks are of good quality. Then we get a really good cover. This time it's Everyone's a Winner, Hot Chocolate track. I've always loved that guitar riff at the beginning of this song. This is an absolutely stonking version. They did it justice, and it is really, really good. Okay, this is the longest album that Gun put out, but it's a very enjoyable album. Okay, there's some fillers on here, but the tracks that are good are brilliant, and I'll give it an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay then, coming in at number 5 is the 5th album. This is their comeback album from 2012, Break the Silence. So this is the first album with Dante Gizzi on vocals, and Jules Gizzi on the guitar, Paul McManus, Andy Carr and Tommy Gentry. So this is their first album as this lineup of the band, and what a belter it was. First track, Butcher Man. Great rocker. You always thought, what would Dante sound like without singing, without Mark Rankin being there? Very good, I would say. Very, very good track. Love the track. 14 Stations. One of them fast rockers. Great drums from Paul McManus thumping away. Terrific bass line from Andy Carr. To take over from Dante on bass is a daunting job, because Dante is a very good bass player and absolutely nails it, and Dante's vocals on this again are terrific. Lost and Found, a very solid track again, really good beat, fantastic guitar work, really uplifting and good rock. Caught in the Middle, this is a typical Gun rock track. There's nothing wrong with that one, lifting you up and giving you a bit of thing. Break the Silence, it is probably one of the weaker tracks on the album. This album. I don't know, it was a little bit lackluster. How Many Roads? Yeah, a little bit wishy-washy in places. No Substitute. Yep, solid enough track, but not brilliant. Bad Things. Great track. Great solo on this. Absolutely awesome. Innocent Thieves is a very solid track. Running Out of Time. This is one of them great Gun songs with that dominating bass line, and everyone else works around this bass line, and it's my favourite track on the album. Last Train, great way to end the album. It's great stuff from Gun. Okay, Breaking the Silence, first album back. I say this is the best album from this lineup, without a doubt. Very, very impressive album, great comeback album. So I'll give it an RTO ranking of 6.8. Okay, now we come into the Mark Rankin era of Gun. This is very hard to rank because these are 4 great albums. Yeah, I love these albums equally. It's just very hard. to rank these. So coming in at number 4 is the 4th album, released in 1997, 0141 632 6326. The number is actually a real number. It's a number of a driving school in Scotland, but at the time Gunn used it, and it was a number you could call to hear the band members give out news on the band and leave messages from them. How cool was that? So on here the band was Mark Rankin on the vocals, Dante Gizzi on the bass guitar, Jules Gizzi guitar, Stuart Kerr on drums, formerly of Texas, and Irvin Duggoid on keyboards. First track, Rescue. You, solid track. I love this track. Absolutely out the top drawer. Then we got Crazy You. This was a single. It's got a catchy hook to it. Very good. I like that track a lot. 17. The start of this sounds more like a Stevie Wonder track, with that distinctive keyboard that you hear on Stevie Wonder records. I love it. It's a little bit different. Mark's voice on this is superb. He could actually rap a little bit, and I love that track. All My Love. This has got an interesting bass line from Dante. But it's not my favourite track on the album, but I do like the bass work from Dante. My Sweet Jane, another single that they released. It's a bit different. It's got some quirky little keyboard runs in this. It's quite catchy, like most of the Gunn tracks are. Come a Long Way. This is very Bon Jovi in places, but there's nothing wrong with that. Got some great shuffle. The shuffle drumming on this is superb. Great track. All I Ever Wanted. Probably one of the worst songs that they ever recorded. I don't mind. Well, this is quite funky in places. I don't dislike it, but I wouldn't play it. It's not a go-to track on the album. Going Down, again, this is a bit of a shuffly song. Great licks, great vocal from Mark. Out the top drawer, good stuff. Last track on the album, yeah, Always Friends, solid track, nothing wrong with that one. Again, very solid album. Sadly, this was Mark Rankin's last album with Gunn. Really good album, got some strong songs on it, but out of the 4 he done, this is probably the weakest one he done. But it's still a good album, and I do play it quite a lot. And I give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 3. The 3rd album, released in 1994, Swagger. On here we've got Mark Rankin on the vocals, Dante Gizzi on the bass, Scott Shields, the original drummer, Alex Dixon, who went on to play in Bruce Dickinson's band, and of course Giuliano Gizzi. Stand in Line. Oh, I love the guitar at the beginning of this. The effect that's on it is just brilliant. Great opening track of an album, absolutely brilliant. Find My Way, one of them classic sing-along Gunn songs. Driving bass line from Dante, thumping vocal from Mark. Great track. Then we have a cover, again a brilliant cover of Cameo's Word Up. This actually earned them the Best Cover Trophy at the first International MTV Music Awards, no less. But it is a great version of Word Up. I actually don't mind the cameo version, but of course I love this version. Next track is Don't Say It's Over, my favourite track on this album. It's hard, it's heavy, great vocal from Mark Rankin, terrific singer, terrific drumming from Scott Shields on this. He was a great drummer, saw him a few times drumming, and he's a solid drummer, doesn't miss a beat, top man. The only one, I love this, the harmonica in this really lifts this song. It's a very cowboy sort of song, you know, Wanted, the Dead or Alive sort of thing. Fantastic track. Something worthwhile. This has got one of Dante's fabulous bass lines. It's a shame he doesn't play bass anymore, because he was a very, very good bass player. It's just one of them classic songs that gets you hooked. It's great live, and a really, really good song. Seems Like I'm Losing You, one of Mark Rankin's best vocal performances on this. He really has got the vocal touch. His range, he's just a very solid single, very deep as well. I do like his vocal. Crying Over You, this has got a great guitar solo from Alex Dixon, one of his best. Dante's bass line is just phenomenal again. One Reason, another track I love. Great start, drumming's brilliant, the riffing is absolutely fantastic. Vicious Heart, wah-wah effects on this drive you mad, they're absolutely brilliant. It's full of great little guitar riffs and wah-wah, very, very good track. This album, from start to finish, is solid. It's absolutely fantastic. There's no weak tracks on this album at all. So I give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, this was hard, doing the top two. I love these two albums to death. But it all came down to a couple of tracks, really. I had to play these about 3 or 4 times, which is not a bad thing for me, because I love these two albums. So coming in at number 2, it's the debut album from 1989, Taking on the World. This, of course, has got the original lineup. Mark Rankin on the vocals, Giuliano Gizzi on guitar, Baby Stafford on guitar, Dante Gizzi on bass, and Scott Shields on the drums. First track, the brilliant Better Days. First track I ever heard by Gun. And I heard it on, I don't know, if you're a certain age and you're in the UK, on Saturday mornings they used to have a programme called The Chart Show, and they played all sorts. And they always played a couple of rock tracks. And they played this, and whoa, this is good. Took a note of the name, as you do, and went and found their album, and I was hooked, because the album is fantastic. Brilliant track, Better Days is. The Feeling Within, just love that driving bass line from Dante, gets your feet tapping. Absolutely brilliant live as well, this track. Inside Out, it's solid enough, but it's not my favourite track on the album. I think it's a little bit of a filler track, that is. It just doesn't seem to go anywhere. Money, Everybody Loves Her. Love the opening riff in this. This is terrific. Fun stomping track. The bass line from Dante is brilliant. Some great drumming from Scott Shields. Really gets your feet going. And again, one of them tracks that's great live. Taking on the World, title track, awesome. Awesome track. I just love that acoustic guitar, and then you get this thumping bass line coming in. Truly a terrific track. Shame on You. Great opening riffs again. That classic bass line from Dante. Superb song. Can't get any lower. Brilliant track. Very hooky. Got a great lick. Great words. Catchy tune. One of them tunes that you can sing along with the band. Then we get my favourite track, and probably one of my favourite tracks by the band, top 3 at least. Something to Believe In. From that opening guitar riff to the bass line, Mark's voice is perfect on this. It's just a fantastic rock track. Girls in Love, no, I just don't like this track. It just doesn't do anything for me. Last track, I'll Be Waiting, another great song. A great bass line. This album is just full of great bass hooks. It's superb. Vocal from Mark Rankin on here is absolutely superb. Very close to being ranked number 1, but there's just a couple of tracks on here that really don't do it for me. But it's still a fantastic album. I saw them tour with this album quite a few times, and the concerts were fantastic. So I give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. So coming at number 1 then. Second album. Released in 1992. Gallus. Again, it's got Mark Rankin, Dante Gizzi, Scott Shields, Alex Dixon and Giuliano Gizzi. Opening track, the brilliant Still Your Fire. Great opening riff this is. Awesome stuff. Again, saw these, I think they supported Def Leppard on their Adrenalize tour when they did it in the round. This was absolutely brilliant live. Great opening track to the album. Money to Burn. There's some great steel guitar at the beginning of this track, and then it goes into an absolutely belting rock track. Mark Rankin is on fire. Long Road, again one of Dante's legendary thumping bass lines. Terrific guitar work from both guys. Jules and Alex just play off each other brilliantly on this album track. Brilliant track. Then my favourite track, Welcome to the Real World. I just love this for so many reasons. I just love the bass line. I love the vocal from Mark Rankin. I enjoy the backing vocals on here. It is a superb track. Really, I'd say it is my favourite track by the band. Next track is Higher Ground. One of the slower tracks, but of course it is a very good track. Some great guitar solos on this. It's just an amazing track. Borrowed Time. I'm not very keen on that one. It's probably one of the tracks I don't like listening to. Freedom. This reminds me of a Bryan Adams sort of track. And I love Bryan Adams, so yeah, I do like that track. Then Won't Back Down. Again, one of the weaker tracks on the album. In fact, it is the weakest track on the album. There's nothing wrong with the musicianship, I just don't like it. Reach Out for Love, more great stuff, nice harmonica in this, really strong. Watching the World Go By, one of their semi-acoustic numbers, very relaxing, shows the versatility of this band. But what tops this track off, you get an absolutely belting guitar solo, probably the best one ever. It just really lifts the track. Solid album, fantastic. What can you say? When you've got a solid debut album like Taking on the World was, your second one is going to be looked at more closely than the first. It's the nature of the beast. A band either kills it or they go into oblivion. Gun didn't. This is a stronger album. They took what they did on the first album and improved it, and this has always been the best album in my eyes. It's just solid rock. There's a couple of weaker tracks, but it's still a fantastic album. I play it to death. I had it on cassette and I wore it out. It's a good job that CDs were invented then. I got it on CD. First, I got it on cassette because it was cheap and cheerful, and I used to play it in my Walkman, but I now got it on CD, and it's brilliant. And I give it an RTO ranking of 9.5. Okay, I've put some nice tracks in the playlist. I've even put a couple that are not on these albums, some of their covers, because they do great covers. If you've never heard them, check them out. They are such a great band. Okay, next show today will be Retro Ranking, and we're looking at the top 10 singles of The Police. Hope you join me for that one. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe, leave your comments, and I'll see you all later. Take care for now.